But
Week 3 is coming up in a couple of days, and here on the Mayo Show, we're here to recap what's been going on in the NFL in these past 2 weeks, specifically Week 2, and we will make some picks and fantasy predictions for this upcoming Week 3. Excited? And let's get into it. Today we have a guest star. Alex is sick today, so we got Yoshi on this. Say what's up.
what's up? Thank you guys for having me on. It's a
Oh
big,
yeah, no problem.
yep,
An honor.
Yeah,
an
can't beat
honor.
him.
Yeah, an honor to be on this epic show that's going number one soon. Very soon.
X. Next
Soon.
Can't
up.
have
Yep.
any worse takes than Alex, so don't be worried.
Yeah, I want to first talk about the man that is the QB and leader for the Raiders, Derek Carr. I mean, this man is like could be the front runner for MVP right now. He's playing out of his mind. I mean, the Steelers defense kind of made him look a little good last week. Really disappointed. I mean, obviously a lot of injuries for the Steelers, like T.J. Watt, groin injury, didn't play most of the game, and Joe Hayden and Devin Bush are out now. So pretty tough life for a Steelers fan right now. But Derek Carr leading the Raiders to 2-0, pretty impressive.
It's impressive what the Raiders have done, but I just want to say Derek Carr's still 13th in rating and 15th in quarterback rating, so it's not like he's been crazy efficient. But I mean, the Raiders, that's crazy that they could actually beat the Ravens, especially in Week 1. Like I was expecting the Ravens. I said it a while ago. I had them number 2 in my overall power rankings. I was expecting them to come off firing this year, and I mean, not only their offense and Derek Carr, but their defense really surprised me that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have some good points there. I mean, the Raiders aren't definitely a fake team. I mean, they did beat two good teams in the division, right? Derek Carr did lead them to 2-0. Darren Waller had something to do with it. Henry Ruggs went off last week, but I mean, they could be a scary team, but we'll see what happens. They have the Dolphins this week without Tua, but we'll see.
If
Yeah, I
they
would
win,
assume that they should be able to get this win this week.
and
But
if
I
you
mean, who
start off
knows?
3-0, like I'm sure the numbers would back me up. Like the odds of you making the playoffs are very, very high.
Yeah.
Longer
I mean, but
season,
here's
we'll see, right?
go ahead. But
It's a longer season. We'll see
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
18 weeks, right? Anything can happen.
Well, the thing is, like the Raiders, if you think about it, they've actually like pulled an upset like this at least like one time, like each year. Like last year,
Was
what did
it
they beat
was
the
it?
Chiefs?
Yep, the
They
Chiefs.
beat the Chiefs, and the year before they beat I forget who it was, but it was another really good team. So they've done this in the past, and then obviously they've still gone like what 8-8 and didn't make the playoffs every one of those years. So who knows? Maybe this year's different. Maybe it's the same. We'll see.
When you have that sort of like gritty play style, like just like dog mentality, I feel like you're gonna get upsets like the Raiders have.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they're sort of a team like that. That's just like very like energetic and gritty.
agreed. I also want to talk about the man who literally won fantasy owners their game this past week. The big man running back for Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry, scored 47 points in non PPR. Pretty insane. That's like half of what some people score in 1 week.
No, it was 47 in PPR, Joe.
Did I not say that?
No, did you say non PPR? I thought you said non PPR.
No, I think I said PPR. I don't know.
My bad.
It's all good.
I mean, a big performance from him. I mean, what you guys talked about in week one, like how you said Julio would have a trouble adjusting, but he did. I mean, let's see, he had what? 6 receptions, 128 yards. He went off. Derrick Henry, of course, went off. Derrick Henry, 6 receptions. I mean, is he getting involved in the passing game? What do you guys think?
That is interesting. I don't think it's anything to like overreact on, but
Yeah.
I think it's just sort of like a product of him like just getting older, having more experience. I think he's just gonna get better in the passing game because that's not really something that his size has provided him. Obviously, that's not one of the big factors in becoming a good receiving back.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, Derrick Henry got 35 carries in that game against the Seahawks. I mean, when you get 35 carries, I'd say it's kind of expected. You get like at
Yeah.
least maybe 15, 20 fantasy points. And also, like, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones just did not really do anything in that game, so they were really relying on Derrick Henry. So I
Hey,
guess it was good coaching by the Titans.
Julio had 128 yards. I wouldn't say he did.
Oh, actually, never mind. Just A.J. Brown.
Just yeah, I was about to say just
He was
AJ
on my
Brown.
fantasy team,
Yeah.
so that's the only person I looked at, to be totally honest.
And Julio got robbed of a touchdown. I mean, I don't know if it actually was a touchdown or
Yeah,
not.
but
That was sick. That was a nice
yeah.
catch.
Mhm.
But can we talk about the Seahawks selling that lead? 24 to what? 9-6? What was it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not sure.
what went wrong? I mean, Russell Wilson still threw for 350, 2 touchdowns. Chris
Defense.
Carson had 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett went off like
Yeah,
usual.
Tyler Lockett has been insane, and DK Metcalf is just not. Like, it's pretty crazy. Some of the throws from Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett just amaze me.
Yeah, it was 24-9 at one point.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I
just a
think
gritty win by the Titans.
it comes down to that Seahawks defense, right? You just can't have Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner making plays all day. You need other players to step up. But we'll see this week. They got a tough matchup, I think, against the Vikings. Good running game and good passing game from the Vikings. But
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right,
Alvin Cook can give him nightmares just like Derrick Henry did. He's definitely
Mhm.
capable.
all right. One last game I want to talk about before we move on to what we think about this next week's slate. Or actually, two more, maybe. I want to talk about Saints against the Panthers. The Saints come out the first week winning 38-3 against the Packers. Then they come in with what, like 6 or 8 coaches missing, and
yeah,
then they get blown out by the Panthers. And the Panthers are impressing me, especially Sam Darnold.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not something to overreact for the Saints, but the Panthers did play well. Um, Fun fact, actually, Ian Book, the Saints rookie quarterback, was actually in charge of substitutions this past Sunday
Wow.
because of how many coaches they were missing. So, I mean,
Damn.
but we did see some vintage Jameis. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I saw
Yeah.
one of his interceptions was definitely
LASIK eye surgery, Jameis.
Yep.
yeah. Christian McCaffrey is just going to be Christian McCaffrey is just going to do what he does, right? He's just going to go off. But I think Sam Darnold is looking like he could be that guy in Carolina. What do you guys think?
I think he can definitely
He's definitely an upgrade.
What, Joey?
I say he's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Bridgewater was not the right fit.
Yeah.
I mean, Bridgewater's looking good on the Broncos. We'll touch on that later, but Sam Darnold, what I really like is he's getting DJ Moore involved as the wide receiver one. I think DJ Moore is way more talented than Robbie Anderson. And last year, Bridgewater and Moore didn't have that connection going. And through the first 2 weeks, DJ Moore has been receiving the most targets and already has 14 receptions.
Yeah, one last game I think we need to talk about from this previous week was Chiefs versus Ravens. Probably the game of obviously the season so far, but definitely the game of the week on Sunday Night Football. Yeah,
Hey, I don't know if it's a game
crazy
of the
game.
season. I don't know if it's a game of the season so far.
What was?
We did see the Ravens Raiders game, which was pretty insane.
My vote gets Ravens.
I think because of the players that were in the Sunday night game, like Mahomes,
Yeah.
Lamar, right? No
I mean,
one really
we've
thought the Raiders were, but I mean,
I'm rocking
yeah.
with the Raiders Ravens game as the game.
yeah,
I
Just
don't know.
because of the touchdown that was called back, and then they threw the pick, and
yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
I mean, Lamar shaky start, right? The pick six, second throw of the game, right? Got some people worrying, maybe like, oh, Lamar's back to his bad habits, making bad reads. But I mean, they came back, they fought against a superstar team, shut down Tyreek Hill. But it was good. It was a good game to watch as a neutral.
yeah, I mean, obviously Lamar's first win against the Chiefs. He was 0-3 going into this game against them. I don't think Lamar Jackson proved anything in this game that we didn't already know he was capable of because him passing in this game was still not amazing.
Yeah.
He threw 2 interceptions, but he had a lot of bad reads. Like he misses the underneath throws. His problem is he can't get to that second read. Once the first read's not there, he panics. But I mean, running, he was just incredible. 16 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he's third in the NFL in rushing yards right now. Like he made so many guys miss. He's just so elusive, and I think he proved that he's definitely a top 6 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And I mean, Marquise Brown looking good in the first 2 weeks of the season. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
surprising me.
fantasy implications.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, do you guys think that Lamar should get Mark Andrews more involved, given the big contract, how they just gave him? But I mean, I feel like he doesn't get the ball enough, maybe. But
I mean,
I
that was
mean,
part of the underneath, like the short reads that he was missing. I saw the commentators on Sunday Night Football highlighted it a lot. Mark Andrews is like open for 7-8 yards a lot, and Lamar just doesn't really ever go there, which is a big problem. And he tries forcing it to his first option a lot. But I think Andrews is worth the contract just because he fits their scheme so well.
mhm.
hmm I say we. Oh, before we get into our picks for this next upcoming week, to recap, we actually skipped our week 2 predictions, so we're sorry about that. But recapping our week 1 picks, I went 4-3 with the picks, and Shane and Alex, who's not here today, they both went 3-4.
It was a rough week 1, a lot of upsets. So
Yeah,
not worried.
differences were I picked Cardinals over the Titans. They did not pick Chargers over the football team. They did not, and they picked the Seahawks over the Colts, and I did not. So,
Yeah.
all right. Now to get to the first game we want to talk about and make picks for week 3, Packers versus 49ers. Looking to be an interesting game. The Packers definitely just bounced back against the Lions. Niners 2-0 in some uh,
Questionable games.
close games that shouldn't have been that close, in my opinion, if they're as good as people think they are. So I'm excited. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles have surprised me this year. But with that said, the Niners offense definitely did not look great. Um, and the Niners easily have the worst quarterback in the NFC West. So if they're gonna, win that division, they need their running game and their defense to be as good as it was in 2019. And
Yeah.
I mean that's a big ask,
Hmm.
especially with Mostert out now that he was a big part in the running game and Trey Sermon getting popped. We don't know how long he's out for unless there's a report I missed, but I think the Niners sort of need to find their rhythm because they haven't been playing together for that long. Like last year, I mean, it was an injury plagued season, and I think their guys are just getting back into the mix. With that
Yeah,
being said,
you're totally right. But also, if you look at the defensive side of the ball, the Niners don't have anyone to put on Devontae Adams, right? Jason Verrett torn ACL.
yeah,
He's out for the year, right? So, and Aaron Rodgers, after what we just saw, 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones just had 4 touchdowns, and Dre Greenlaw is out for a long time. So the Niners' run defense isn't looking as strong as it used to be, but that offense needs to start going. Debo has a lot of upside to him, but I think that the Packers will take this one on Sunday night, prime time home opener for the Niners. But I think the Packers will come into Santa Clara and take it.
I
I
am
think you're
also
right.
taking the sleeper in this game. Well, the sleeper, according to the sports books, the Packers are plus money, plus 160 in this game, and I'm gonna pick them. I think they got their mojo back, and they're gonna start playing like they did before. And this Niners team is confusing to me, and I'm not totally liking that they're 2-0, and I think they need an L under their belt. So I'm picking the Packers.
I'm also going with the Packers. It's because I trust Aaron Rodgers and that offense a lot more than I trust the Niners offense right now. But I do want to touch on Debo Samuel because that was a good point, Yoshi. He is just like incredible. You can pass him the ball 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and it looks like it's going to be a TFL, and he turns that into 15 yards. Like he is a running back playing wide receiver. He leads the NFL in receiving yards right now.
Yeah.
I think with 280 something. So I think they need to get him involved a lot more because I don't know if I've ever seen a wide receiver screen to Debo Samuel go wrong.
Yeah, and if you picked him over Ayuk in your fantasy drafts, props to you. I definitely did not do that, and I definitely regret it. So
Ayuk
props to
has
you if you
one.
picked him over.
Ayuk has
What?
one total offensive touch through the that is like that
And
is crazy.
also the last thing being that is George Kittle going to get going? Last week barely did anything. The week before barely did anything.
We were
Like,
saying this before the season for fantasy.
why
I'm just
can't
not a
he?
big fan of Kittle in fantasy, to be totally
Yeah,
honest.
I feel like any Niners player isn't very good in fantasy.
Debo is, but he's
Yeah,
the only offensive player, to be totally honest.
Sure,
yeah,
Debo will drop a donut one of the upcoming weeks. That's just how the Niners work.
Yeah,
yeah,
But
they
yeah,
are a pretty low scoring team.
I
yeah.
think part of the Kittle thing just has to do with like how this offense has functioned. Because when the running game is going, that's when Kittle's at his best. The play action that Kyle Shanahan is so like well respected and known for. So I think I expect Kittle to get going soon. He had a good game against the Packers. Was that last year, 2 years ago? I think he'll have a
Yeah.
nice game.
All right.
All right, moving on to the next game. We should talk about probably the most anticipated game of the week. Two of the best teams in football.
Eagles Cowboys.
And nope. Bucs Rams. Bucs Rams. Tom Brady and that high-powered offense this year, looking like the best team in the league so far right now. Tom Brady threw 5 touchdown passes last week. Their defense is looking stout as always, and I mean Brady's just got too many weapons to handle. So we'll see what he does against this Rams team that's looked pretty good so far. Definitely looked good against the Bears, but everyone looks good against the Bears. But nonetheless, they're 2-0 too. So an interesting game.
Joe Burrow didn't look good against the Bears. But
Okay,
yeah.
a good team should look good against the Bears.
Mm-hmm. So it's in LA. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay though. Still, I think, like Joey said, they've looked like the best team easily. I don't know. This is such a tough game because both teams could obviously win this. This is like flipping a coin, honestly. What do you guys think?
I mean, let's not forget last year when these teams met on Monday Night Football, the Rams did win by 3,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a
Yeah,
new. It is
here's
a
the
new
thing.
offense.
So last year the Bucs were not a regular season team, came alive in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I was.
obviously, here's the thing. So they showed that you don't. It just comes down to who can perform in December and January in the playoffs. So obviously, like whoever wins this game isn't going to decide who's going to be the Super Bowl champions. But that is a good point. Keep
I do
going.
think this could be the NFC Championship preview. For sure.
Interesting.
It's a bold point. I think the Bucks will make it, but I'm not sure about the Rams. But we'll see. But I got the Bucks on this one. I think it's an easy one.
Yeah,
Joey, did
I
you
also
say?
got the Bucks. I think it'll be a pretty close game. Uh, I honestly think this could be decently low scoring because of the defense. Because I mean, well, I'm just excited for this game. Obviously, it's in LA.
So
I'm not
Joey,
betting against Tom Brady. What?
are you going under 55.5? That's what it's set at right now.
55? Yes, I would go under 55.
You gonna bet on that?
I don't know, maybe. Who knows? 55 is a lot of points.
And
That's surprisingly high.
I don't think Aaron Donald will get a sack this game too. That O line is too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we'll never know. I mean, we'll find out.
Brady has all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
just
want to
don't
see
see
what
the
yeah,
teams
we
have.
need to see what Matthew Stafford does against good teams.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too.
I mean, he played fine against the Colts. I'd say they're a good team.
Yeah, they won by 3, but yeah. See what happens when he goes against one of the,
One of the best defenses in the
the
league.
top tier. Yep. All right, next game. What? Let's go.
I was gonna say, can we move on to Eagles Cowboys?
Yes, we can.
All right. Monday Night Football in AT&T. I think that I got the Eagles on this one. The Eagles they look good against the Niners. I mean, Jalen Hurts looked good. Devontae Smith looked good. Their defense looked good. And I just don't think the Cowboys are that team. I mean, they're up and down. I think Zeke will put up an egg this week. Dak will do his thing. Amari might maybe, but I just got the Eagles on prime time in AT&T. I'll take the Eagles.
Wow. Uh,
You know, Yoshi, I might have picked the Cowboys before you just defended the Eagles, but now I'm gonna go with the Eagles. So convincing. I mean, you're
yep.
right.
I mean,
Dak
you can't really go against the Eagles if you're an Eagles fan and someone else picks them.
No, but I take pride in being unbiased. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going Eagles. What am I saying?
What about you, Joey?
Uh, here's the thing. So I hate the Cowboys, so that would probably be the thing that drives me away from them. But I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. Um, they've looked good enough this year, and facing a division rival, I think they're gonna step it up and win this game. Obviously, they just won a gritty game against one of the better offenses in the NFL, in my opinion, in the Chargers. Now they're playing the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. I think they'll definitely be able to contain him, and then they'll do what they do on offense. And I think they're gonna squeak out a win.
All right. So, is that the first disagreement we've had?
Yeah,
Much needed.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely.
All
All
right.
right. Next game we can talk about Saints Patriots. Two teams that are 1-1. The Saints looked great in week 1. Week 2, obviously, like we said, dealing with that the 9 or 8 coaches missing, whatever it was. And the Patriots in week 1 didn't look so great. Lost to a Dolphins team who also didn't look so great. And then week 2, the Patriots stepped it up against Jets and made Zach Wilson have an awful game. Who you guys got?
Um, honestly, I think the Saints, they're just one of those weekly teams, like one week they'll win, the other week they'll put up a goose egg. I think it'll be like this week against the Pats. I think James will go 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Camaro will get 1 or 2, but I don't think that defense will be able to hang with the Saints. If Jameis Winston's on, I think he can take it, but I got the Saints all the way.
I think this is gonna be a really unpredictable game. Either way, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. Honestly, just for the pure fact that we saw the Saints without their coaches, and they're not gonna have those coaches again. Um, and I have faith in Mac Jones. I really like his leadership on the field. I think he definitely fits in the NFL right away, which I did say on our mock draft video. I said I liked Mac Jones and liked how he's the most built for the NFL out of all the rookie quarterbacks, which is showing. So I'm gonna go with the Patriots, but they're definitely gonna have to score some points to win.
I'm also going Pats because, I mean, simply it's Jameis Winston against Bill Belichick. I just think Bill Belichick can definitely work with Jameis Winston as his opposing quarterback. I tried pulling up. I pulled up the one game Jameis Winston has gone against New England in his career. He was 26 for 46, but he didn't throw an interception. Surprisingly, he had one passing touchdown, no interceptions. which is surprising. But I I mean, both games that I picked the Patriots this year, I picked them in week 1, and now I'm picking them in week 3. It's simply been like mainly because of Bill Belichick. Like I just never want to bet against him.
especially with the new rookie quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, Mac Jones looks like a vet out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all Bill needs is someone that can take care of the football and make the easy throws.
All right, should we move on to the final game that we're going to talk about?
Yep.
And that game is Falcons versus Giants. Two 0-2 teams, and one of them is going to have to finally get a win. Which will it be? Will it be the Falcons? Looked all right. I mean, nothing good, obviously, because they've lost both games. And then the Giants, who some people might think they got robbed against the Washington football team, which we also could have talked about because that was also a really good game. And I mean, Sterling Shepard looked good. Daniel Jones actually looked pretty good, in my opinion, in that game against the football team. So I'm interested to see what you guys think.
Um, I have the Giants on this one because I think Saquon. I saw some stat that said Saquon played 84% of the snaps last week. He's getting more involved in the offense. His production's not there yet, but Daniel Jones is looking good. I feel like if they can get Kenny Golladay going a little, that'll be unstoppable. And I think Sterling Shepard, like what you said, has been looking really good. But Daniel Jones is one of the high points for them this season that we've seen so far. So I got the Giants.
I'm gonna ride with the Falcons in this one, just because like I think this offense is still super talented, and I think they've yet to really like show that. Week 1, the Eagles held them to just 6, and week 2, I mean, they looked all right. They were in it with Tampa until those 2 pick sixes in the fourth. So I think I think Matt Ryan finally has his good game of the season. I think Mike Davis is a really good addition in the passing game. And I think Calvin Ridley's finally going to go off in week 3 for his first like really big week of the season.
I'm also gonna go with the Falcons. I think they've yet to have that good game, which I think they could have against the Giants. And I believe that this will be one of Daniel Jones' blow up games. So I think the Falcons offense is going to thrive in this game.
Why do you think it's going to
And
be a Daniel Jones blow up game?
because I can just feel it. And they're going to lose this game. They're 0-2. This is like the game that they need to win, and they're going to lose it. That's Giants. That's the Giants for you.
That is true.
How about what do you guys think about Kyle Pitts? Do you think he'll be doing anything this week? Fantasy owners should be concerned. Drop, trade, keep, play.
I think that for this week you have to start Kyle Pitts. I mean,
I mean, I think you have to start them every week, but
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, at this point in the season, like you can't for where you were drafting him. I stayed away from Pitts in all my leagues.
Yeah.
But from where you were drafting him, you need to start him for this beginning. I mean, he led the Falcons in receiving last week.
I never understood how people picked why people picked Kyle Pitts over TJ Hawkinson, and that's proving me right so far this season.
I mean, Pitts could go. We haven't seen, we've only seen Pitts for 2 weeks in the NFL, and last week, like I said, he was pretty good. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he went off week 3. It's kind of just a wild card right now.
Agreed. All right, what do you guys say we get into some week 3 starts and sits? We're actually going to change it up a little bit. It's going to be players we like and players we don't like for fantasy football week 3. Going to go, 2, 3 players each? Who wants to start?
I think my sits and stay aways are definitely James Robinson, stay away. Just hasn't done anything yet. I mean, no production. And I think,
Well,
I
let's
mean,
just go one at a time.
all
I
Yeah.
think
right.
he has a good matchup.
You think against the Cardinals?
Actually, wait, never mind. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, the Cardinals run D has been very good the first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
They did let Dalvin get 131 yards, but I mean that's Dalvin Cook. They held Derrick Henry to a low number. I mean, and I don't know what Urban Meyer's doing. He's probably gonna get fired end of the season. It's not looking good for the Jaguars. Everything's going wrong, and James Robinson's not getting involved. So I agree. I think he should be on your bench unless he's your flex option, like your obvious option if you don't have another guy.
Yeah. And another one for me would be definitely, I think, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I think at this point it's just a drop, honestly. He just doesn't get involved in that
you would
offense at
drop him.
all.
You would drop Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Not drop, but trade. I think you get some
Okay.
value for
Alright.
Clyde. Like if you're getting maybe, well, you see, but definitely not. Don't keep Clyde on your team.
I don't think I'd be
Uh,
trading Clyde after he drops 2. I'd wait till it gets like at least 15, trade high, sell high.
mhm.
But yeah, I wasn't really into Clyde this year.
Mhm.
Um,
You gonna go? Or you want me to go?
you can go.
All right. One of my starts this week is gonna be AJ Brown. I'm gonna say AJ Brown. Might have said Julio Jones, but I just really like these Titans receivers against the Indianapolis Colts this week, who Cooper Kupp just dropped 36 points on. So I'm expecting another good week for receivers against the Colts. Uh, I don't know if they still. I don't know if Darius Leonard is still out or not, but uh, I I believe he was hurt, so that definitely affects it. And I just know receivers thrive against the Colts so far, so I'm going with that.
My start or one of my loves is gonna be DJ Moore against the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Like I was saying earlier, I really liked how Sam Darnold's been getting him involved this season. I think he's a really talented wide receiver. I think this is his breakout season, and he's going up against the Texans, who have surprised a lot of people, including myself. They've looked better than I would have thought, but it's still the Texans. I expect DJ Moore to eat against that secondary.
One of my starts, likes, loves would be probably Najee Harris. He's got a good matchup against the Bengals, right? One of the worst defenses in the leagues. And after last week, that stiff arm that he tossed on that little boy, that um, I think he's just settling into the league, right? I mean, only had 38 rush yards, but a receiving touchdown. I think if the Steelers could get him going, it would be a scary, scary offense for them.
Damn, you stole one of my starts. But yeah, I was also gonna say Najee Harris. I like him in this matchup against the Bengals, especially with the injury concerns that the Steelers have. They're definitely gonna need to run the ball more. I believe in this game. They're gonna have to rely a little bit more, and Mike Tomlin, the great coach that he is gonna find a way to get him more involved and more efficient because they have not been efficient in the run game so far, and the O line has been very disappointing. So we'll see. I like Najee Harris this week.
Uh, Another love for me, I'm gonna go Mike Davis because going against up against the Giants last week, Washington had 7 completions to running backs against the Giants. Mike Davis had 7 receptions against the Bucs, a very tough Bucs defense. And hot take, Mike Davis gets 8+ receptions against the Giants. So I just really like how he's getting involved in the passing game. It doesn't really matter what he does in the running game as long as he's getting those targets and the underneath catches. I mean, that's really valuable. This is for PPR. If non PPR, it's a different story. But for PPR, I love Mike Davis this week.
All right. One guy I love this week also. He had a great week last week as well, and I believe he's gonna repeat. I'm gonna go with Cortland Sutton. Um, against who's he playing again?
The Jets.
The Jets.
I mean,
Jets
yeah.
are obviously definitely lackluster in their secondary. That's probably the weakest point of their defense by far. And he just did good against the Jaguars, who kind of have the same story. So I expect nothing less. And I think he's going to have another great game with Jerry Jeudy out again.
One of mine would be, honestly, this might be a little stretch, but I think Antonio Brown will get more than 15 points this week because we all know Jalen Ramsey won't be on Antonio Brown. He'll be either on Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. So I think that corner 3, corner 2 will be on Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown will get open in the end zone, and Brady loves his former Patriots. I mean, we looked at Gronk last week, but I think Antonio Brown is definitely one of my likes, and he has a good matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say I agree with that, honestly. All right. Shane, you got one?
Running out of ideas over here.
I know.
I need to figure out a
Yeah,
running back.
I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson. Obviously, like we said, obviously he's gonna be in your lineup every week, but I think he has a good chance to finish as a QB1 this week, going up against the Lions. I don't expect him to slow down from where he left off against the Chiefs, and now it's against obviously the Detroit Lions, who just won't be able to keep up with him running the football. I think he goes for around 100 rush yards again, and I think he definitely limits the turnovers in this one.
Mm-hmm. Someone that I am also liking this week. I don't want to be too plain, but I am gonna say Dalvin Cook after what Derrick Henry did to the Seahawks. Now Dalvin Cook is playing them, and I just have to go with him. I think he's scored what 15 the last 2 games. This is gonna be his breakout game. Uh, he's been a little less than what people would think of him to do at the second overall pick, and I think owners are gonna be happy they drafted him after this week.
That's an obvious but good one. You know,
Yeah.
I think. I think a sit for me would be definitely Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon because Steelers again super tough defense. I mean, Jamar Chase had a good week 1, good all right week 2, but the super tough secondary. Joe Mixon, you cannot run against that Steelers run defense. But yeah, those are my 2 sits.
I'm not gonna say anything about this one because in week 1 I actually had him as one of my hates, and then he ended up getting what, like 25 points in fantasy or something.
Joe
And it
Mixon,
was such a no, Jamar Chase.
oh Jamar Chase.
And he had such like a nonchalant touchdown. He's had a touchdown in both of the games he's played. It's pretty consistent, even in a game that Joe Burrow played bad.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I feel like Jamar Chase could have another good game, but who knows? I'm not gonna say anything about this one.
Sticking with the theme of rookie wide receivers, I love Devontae Smith this week. In week 1, he was one of my starts on this segment, and if you listen to me, he did not disappoint you. Last week was, I mean, I think the numbers don't actually show how solid he was last week because he did draw a couple PIs against the Niners secondary last week and was very close to catching a deep ball from Hurts. And now he's going up against a Cowboys secondary who did surprise me last week, sorry, against the Chargers. But it's still a Cowboys secondary. It's still a very bad defense. And I think this game could be a shootout.
I agree. Um, for one of my sits, I'm gonna go with think I'm going to go with Arizona Cardinals running backs because I think this is going to be a good game for wide receivers on the Cardinals. And I think that's going to overtake. I think Kyler Murray is going to have another good game and do some of the rushing work. But I think they're going to be throwing it a little longer against this Jacksonville defense that is obviously lackluster and they're not having a good season at all. Like I was talking about the Broncos against the Jaguars. I don't think any of the Broncos running backs had a good game against the Jaguars, and the receivers did. I think that's going to be the same pattern for this game.
Ready? Here's a disagreement for you and a hot take. I think James Conner goes for 20 plus PPR fantasy points this week.
Wow.
Because I think the game
Wow.
script is going to be good. I think that the Cardinals will jump ahead early, and I think they're just going to end up running the ball, especially in the second half. So that's my hot take. James Conner, 20 plus fantasy points this week.
And what's another one of you guys sits?
Another sit. Well, actually, never mind.
All right. Well, another one of my hates this week is going to be Buffalo Bills running backs. After a great week against the Dolphins, they scored like 3 total touchdowns, divvied up between Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Devin Singletary got that really long one, and Zach Moss got 2 touchdowns, which is really disappointing for Josh Allen fantasy owners. Even though they scored like 35 points, he still
You
scored
only
like 15 fantasy points.
he only had 15.
But now that they're going up against this one of the probably the best front seven, defensive front seven in the NFL in the Washington football team, or at least one of the best front sevens, I think they're going to struggle, and Josh Allen's going to be forced to throw the ball, and they're going to want him to throw the ball because they need to get him back in that groove if they want to be the Super Bowl contender that people think they are.
Yeah. One of my dislikes is this is a bit, crazy, but I think Justin Herbert is on your bench this week. He just can't find anything. Week 1, 13 points, week 2, 14. I mean,
Who are they playing?
Chiefs. I mean, their
Chiefs.
defense isn't that great, but I just don't think he just hasn't found his rhythm like he did last year.
I think I might kind of disagree with this because I think they're gonna have to stay in it with the Chiefs, and it's gonna be kind of a high scoring game. So I think he's gonna get a lot of passing attempts, and that's gonna boost his value. And I think he's gonna have a pretty good game.
I was actually going to say for one of my loves, Mike Williams, simply because what Joey just said. They're going to need to keep up with the Chiefs offense, and I could see Mike Williams catching a long ball. And I mean, he's been great in the first 2 weeks, putting up solid numbers in both of the first 2 games. And I think that continues in week 3.
Mm-hmm. Shane, do you have a sit?
I have a start and a sit. So, or a love and a hate. My love, another player, another receiver in this Thursday night football game, Panthers Texans, Brandon Cooks. He's the wide receiver 1 in Houston, and it's going to be a positive game script. I think the Texans will be behind a lot in this game, and they're going to have to throw it. And I think Davis Mills, we don't really know what he's going to look like because Tyrod Taylor is out, but I think Brandon Cooks is by far the best receiver in that offense right now. Go ahead.
I think I would disagree with that. If it's Tyrod Taylor starting on Thursday, I'd be like, yeah, that's a good pick. But Davis Mills, we just don't know what's gonna happen, right? Because we know they're gonna be behind. But will the head coach, give him the freedom to just start lobbing them up to Brandon Cooks? But
yeah, that's a good point.
All right.
I'm just thinking that like when new quarterbacks come into an offense, I feel like they usually will rely on that number 1 guy, and I don't know. I just think this game might be high scoring.
My third and final sit of week 3. Maybe if I think of another one, there'll be a fourth, but who knows? It's gonna be Marquez Callaway for the Saints. Um, they're playing the
The
who are they?
Pats,
They're
Patriots.
playing the Pats. Yeah, they're playing the Pats. And obviously with their coaches being out, like I said earlier, I think they're gonna have trouble moving the ball, and that's gonna really affect the passing game again. Uh, Jameis Winston coming off of a 4 interception game. I think Alvin Kamara is gonna have a really good game this week. I think they're gonna heavily rely on him to win them this game and on the offensive side of the ball. And I think the uh, passing game is going to suffer. So also don't start Jameis Winston, in my opinion.
Shane, what was your one sit that you were going to say before
Yeah, it
we
was
went
gonna
on?
be the whole Browns passing game. So Baker Mayfield and any Browns pass catchers that might be in your lineup. I don't know how your team's looking if you got a Browns pass catcher in your lineup, but definitely benching them this week against Chicago. The Bears secondary looked really good last week. Week 1 it was a different story, but I think last week they really tightened it down, and Joe Burrow had a really rough game. I'm not saying I expect Baker Mayfield to have a rough game, but I expect this to be like a very run heavy game and a very low scoring game. So that sort of leads. I like Nick Chubb this week. I think he's going to get a lot of volume.
See, I completely agree because, see, first of all, Jarvis Landry's on the IR, right? They placed him on the IR this morning, and Odell. Does anyone have any word on when he's going to be back?
I do not know.
He
Exactly, right?
is very questionable.
Yeah. So I mean, as from that, the pass catchers, I think the ball is going to go to Nick Chubb, 85% Kareem Hunt split, right? But Shane, that's a very good point that you bring up about the wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. And even if Odell does come back this week, he's listed as questionable.
Yeah.
I'd
So
say
limited snaps.
let him ride your bench.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have one more love for this week because I feel like I need to name another big name player. And it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins against the Jaguars. I'm really talking about the Jaguars a lot in this fantasy segment because I really don't like their secondary, and receivers seem to have a field day against them. So why not DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best, if not the best overall receiver, not fantasy wise, but receiver in the NFL. Wait, he is fully healthy though, right?
Yes, from what I've checked this morning, he
All
was
right.
fully healthy.
If he is fully healthy, make sure you have him in your lineup.
I mean, I think that's, of course, a must start, right? I don't think anyone besides when DeAndre Hopkins is on a bye is riding
Yeah.
anyone's bench. But I mean, that's such a favorable matchup. Do you even know who the corner one is for the Jags?
I
Exactly.
don't.
Yeah. So, I
I
mean,
know that Jalen
Kyler,
Ramsey used to be.
Kyler Murray's going to have a field day. I think Christian Kirk is one of the most underrated players on that team.
Also,
But
Rondale Moore.
he went off last week. But to your point, DeAndre Hopkins will go off like usual.
Yep.
Yeah, touching on the Cardinals' second option, I think if I have Rondell Moore or Christian Kirk, I'm probably not going to start him this week just to see. I want to wait a couple more weeks just to see who the true wide receiver 2 is. Because, I mean, even AJ Green was getting involved. Week 1, it was Christian Kirk. Week 2, Rondell Moore. Seemed
I
like
mean,
that.
Rondale Moore's been pretty consistent though, fantasy wise.
I mean, it's been 2 weeks. I mean,
He had like what,
I'm
14
just
and
saying
19?
I'm just saying Christian Kirk went off in week 1. So I'm just waiting to see who the true number 2 is in that
Yeah,
offense before we start those guys.
that's valid. All right, I think that just about wraps it up for this episode 12 of the Mayo Show. The week 3 predictions of the games and some love and hate for fantasy football. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.